Welcome back. This is Answer Me This, part of the Fatherhood in Focus podcast. I'm Aidan, dad, host, and founder of the Modern Fatherhood Club. Every week, I'm going to ask you one uncomfortable question, not to shame you, but to sharpen you. It's about legacy, impact, and the man that your kids actually see when you walk into the room. Because the world is happy for you to just cope. We're here to help you choose how you show up, how you lead, and how you love. Before we dive in, if you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast, hit subscribe on YouTube, and grab some of our free fatherhood resources at themodernfatherhoodclub.com. All our resources are built to support you from those early messy days right through to the years when they're shouting at you from across the room. All right, take a breath. This week's question is designed to test you. Let's get into it. This week's question is super simple. What will your children remember when life gets hard? What are you teaching them that will help them overcome the darker times, the struggles, the frustration, even the missed opportunity? Because the man you were created life. The man you've become since, well, that's shaping it. So I guess the deeper question is this. What changes have you made? More importantly, what changes have you failed to make? What did you prioritize, and what are you prioritizing now? And will they see you at the peak of your powers, ready for anything and focused on what matters most? This is what I want. If my boys ever lose themselves, if they ever feel overwhelmed, unsure, or unworthy, I want them to know these two things. That I'm going to be there, and that they're going to have the tools to fall back on to get them through those tough times. But I now know that the only way they're going to have that second one is if they watch me build it first and they see me rising up from setback. Fatherhood is raw, it's unfiltered, and it's uncompromising. It's the biggest challenge that we face, but it carries so much reward. We have this finite time to shape who our children to become, to pass on the wisdom that will help them overcome fears and rise above the noise. But we rarely step back from the stress and the strain and evaluate the difference between who they need us to be, who we were, and who we are right now. If I'm brutally honest, I wish I'd done more. I wish I'd done more before becoming their dad. When I reflect back, I feel like I wasted some of my potential, maybe my capacity to earn more, and sometimes I let opportunities slip by. I had chances to grow, to be more, to grow more, to push for more, but I let fear control who I became. I let it stop me from reaching for more. As a dad, when I look back and know that I let fear control a lot of things, had I put it to one side, yeah, I might have done more. But that doesn't mean that I failed. My struggle as a new dad was never fatherhood related. It was everything that came before. All fatherhood does is expose your weaknesses, your blind spots, and it pushes your deepest fears to the surface. I do think it leaves us regretting past decisions and mistakes. And it's those that stop us from truly embracing and connecting with our partners and our children. But what do you think? In those early, uncertain weeks and months after baby arrives, we're forced to pull back the curtain and question whether we're ready and whether we've done enough. I think we tell ourselves that we've done a good job, but underneath it all, I think we quietly question if we could have done so much more. I don't regret the man I am or the man they see. I just want my boys to learn and adapt quicker than I did. So the question is, do you wish you'd done more before becoming a dad? And is that wish stopping you from connecting? If so, that, sir, is the wake-up call you need. Because imagine if they saw you at your full power instead of the man trying to find it. Or worse, what if they never saw you at full power because you were stuck in the past, filled with regrets, and couldn't get past it? I felt guilty, I felt weak, I felt hopeless. In reality, fatherhood was giving me something greater, something to aspire to be. I've had my moments. Moments where I doubted my worth. Moments where I felt like I'd missed my moment. Moments where the pressure of being a father, a partner, and a man felt like a storm I couldn't stand in. But every single time I came back, not because I'm special, but because I knew something deeper was calling me back to who I really was. And now I want them to know how to do the same. That initial feeling of failure created this void. It threw me off course and it drove me to the darkest of places. It stopped me seeing the beauty that our children bring to the world. The self-loathing, that anger created such a divide. But when you're faced with losing everything or fighting back and fighting for those that you love, well, you have to make the right choice. You can push them away. You can hurt them. You can leave them questioning what they've done. Or you can accept that past failure cannot limit the man they see. So what will you choose? Who will they see? Who will you become? See, most men don't show their children what to do when it all falls apart. We model the mask. We keep performing. We drown in pressure and pretend that we're fine. But that teaches them to run from themselves, to numb, to disconnect. I don't want that for my boys. I want them to know that you can face your fear, that failure is feedback, that emotions are not weakness but signals, and that they can decide what strength looks like. Because they'll either embrace their strengths, recognize their weaknesses, or play small and find themselves where I found myself before they arrived. Today I choose to push forward, to better understand who I'm capable of becoming, and to embrace my flaws, my strengths, and my fears. That place I found myself in is my fuel, but it comes with a warning. If you place too much emphasis on it, it can become a weight around your neck. Yes, it can motivate, but it can also control not just what you do, but who they see, how you respond under pressure, what you do next, and who you become. That can have a huge impact on your kids. Fear holds us back. It fuels us. But it can also carry with it this pressure to perform. And that pressure to perform is what can lead you to feel lost, ashamed, and fighting to reconnect. Because, my friend, the fall is hard. But the rebuild, the fight back to the surface, that's where the hard work sits. That's who they see. That's who they learn from. And that's why you must understand where you're heading, where you've been, and what impact you're having on those you love as you rebuild. Look, I quietly believe that I have an opportunity to reshape our future. Nothing will stop me working toward that future. I don't regret the journey, but I know others could have done it faster. They could have created products quicker and taken shortcuts to that brighter future. But then I look back over the last 24 months. I see the progress, the growth, the quality of what I build. And I reflect on what we've been through as a family. This, my friend, is where you need to strike the right balance. If you're fighting back, you don't want them to live with regret, but you also don't want them to believe that hustle and stress is the only way. You don't want them to be fearful, but you also don't want them to spend their lives chasing something which overshadows the little moments that make life worth it. See, I want them to be able to overcome hard times. But what I want more than anything is for them to find happiness. I want them to know that sometimes dreams take over and cause you to miss the moments. True happiness is ultimately what I want them to search for. It's not about preventing hard times. It's about giving them the tools to navigate them, to think deeply, feel fully, and choose wisely. But that all starts and ends with me, with how I return to center, how I handle the weight, how I model coming back to what really matters. You cannot build legacy if you're carrying the weight of regret, potential, pressure, provision, and purpose all in the same breath. If you want them to see it through the hard times, respond with grace and composure. Fight without losing sight of what matters and what lights you up. Then you model it first. That's the shift that you and I must make. We all grow into our role. We're all carrying the weight of something. You must decide whether that weight is worth the effort or if it's time to let go and become the dad they need. Not the dad they need tomorrow. The dad they need right now. Present, passionate, proud, strong, resilient, prepared. Today, my boys, they just need to see dad. And I'm not chasing success anymore. I'm chasing alignment, not for money, not for validation, for freedom. Not just mine, but theirs. Their happiness, our future. So that my kids see what it looks like to build a life around what you value and what you love, not what the world expects. It means less pretending, more truth, more presence, more of me at my best and my worst, all without shame. A leader willing to sit with the pressure and not rise to it. A man prepared to take on a challenge without stepping back for fear of failure. A dad who understood what they needed and why. If one day my boys feel like they're lost, I don't want them to panic. I want them to pause. I want them to hear my voice in their mind. Come back to you. You've done it before. You'll do it again. Because if I teach them anything, it's that the strongest men don't avoid the fall. They just never forget the way back. That's the map. That's the legacy. And in my opinion, that's modern fatherhood. So what will your children remember when life gets hard? Will they remember your composure under pressure? Will they remember how you overcame challenges without sacrificing time and connection? But more importantly, will they believe that they can and live without limitation, safe in the knowledge that fear is more than fuel? I'm here because I lost sight of what was important and it almost cost me everything. But that challenging time, well, it taught me about duty. It taught me to live aligned to the things that matter and to never overlook the small stuff and my impact on their world. I've made mistakes, and yes, I've missed moments, but I'm not letting them define my fatherhood story because I'm fighting for a future that serves me, my partner, and them. Please remember that we're not talking about making sweeping changes. This isn't about scripted, it's not about safe, it's not about being polished. It's what happens when a dad gets real about where he's falling short and how he's learning to rise anyway. Because your kids don't need a dad who has it all figured out. They need a dad who's willing to look in the mirror and keep becoming. This isn't for the man who's pretending. This is for the man who's ready. So if you're here, if you're scrolling between pressure and exhaustion, and something inside you whispers, I need more than this, you're in the right place. And this is where we talk about what matters. This is where you answer the questions that keep you up at night. This is where you can get to the truth, not just about what it means to be dad, but what it takes to become the father that they'll never forget. As always, please write it down, dive into the detail. Create something so powerful and unique that you cannot wake up and not move toward it. Remember, you're working to create the version of dad that they need to see. Because if you get it right, silence the noise and prioritize what's important, they'll live how you lived, love how you loved, listen how you listened, and prioritize how you did, and show up in the lives of those they love, just in the way that you did. And this is the role of you and I. Stability, strength, passion, perseverance, pride, but above everything else, love. All right, that's this week's question done. You just spent a few minutes doing exactly what most of us avoid. Slowing down, being honest, and looking at how you're really showing up. And my friend, this matters. It matters more than you know. Remember, your kids, they don't need a perfect man. They need an honest one, a dad who's willing to reflect, reset, and lead from the front, even when he's tired, under pressure, or just coping more than he liked to admit. My friend, if this episode landed for you, subscribe to the podcast. Hit subscribe on YouTube so that you don't miss any of our future episodes. And if you haven't yet, please join us at themodernfatherhoodclub.com. There you're going to find free resources and reflection questions. You're going to find the ultimate New Dad Toolkit, the New Dad Recharge course for those of you that are ready to realign your energy and your priorities, and details of our upcoming antenatal accelerator for those of you expecting a baby. Look, I'm not perfect, and neither are you. But we are committed to leading with confidence, openness, and heart. Thank you for listening, for reflecting, and for doing the hard work. This is the Modern Fatherhood Club. This is Answer Me This, part of the Fatherhood in Focus podcast. Lead from the front. Never underestimate the power you have over who they become. This is Aidan, and I'll see you in the next episode.